In the black silence between dying stars, the galaxy held its breath. Empires had fallen, worlds burned, hope extinguished. Then, from a forgotten blue world, something moved. They called them Deathworlders. Humans, born on a planet that tried to kill them every single day. And somehow, they learned to survive. Now, as the galaxy trembled beneath the weight of extinction, the last light of defiance fell from the sky. And when those humans landed, the universe remembered what fear really was. The crimson dunes of Vorinth 9 stretched beneath an alien sun, its dying light bleeding over cracked metal and bone. Lieutenant Cole Mercer adjusted his visor, scanning the ruins for any sign of movement. His mission was simple: retrieve the lost distress beacon of the Korra settlement. But nothing about this world felt simple. The air itself carried whispers of something ancient and wrong. "Command, this is Mercer," he muttered, voice distorted by static. "No survivors in Sector 9, but I've found something. Something." He moved closer. Buried beneath the dust, a faint light pulsed, blue and alive. As his glove brushed the surface, the sand recoiled like breath. That's when he saw her, an alien woman, wounded, fragile, eyes glowing with silver light. Everyone else had left her to die, but Cole couldn't. "Hang on," he whispered. "You're not alone anymore." The camera pans up. Distant thunder rolls. Alien ruins glow faintly in the background. The storm thickened, turning the sky into liquid fire. Mercer carried the alien woman through the ruins, her skin flickering with bioluminescent veins, every breath a battle. He didn't even know her name, but something in her eyes, that faint shimmer of fear, felt human. His comlink buzzed. "Lieutenant Mercer, report. You were ordered to retrieve the beacon, not strays." He looked down at her. The order meant leave her, but the galaxy had already left too many behind. "Negative, Command," he said. "I'm bringing her in." Static swallowed the reply, but he didn't need permission anymore. Her voice came like wind through glass. "Why? Why help me?" Mercer paused. "Because someone has to." Energy surged through the armor, healing warmth, and for a heartbeat he felt her pain, her memories, a city burning, her people enslaved, the Empire's cruelty. In that moment, he understood. She wasn't just a survivor. She was the key to something much greater. Somewhere above, the Empire's scanners locked onto his heat signature, and in the distance, engines roared. The hunt had begun.
Jax stepped out from the shadows, the heavy thud of his boots echoing through the cavern, like a drumbeat calling out defiance. A soft hum, the alien crystal vibrates faintly. He held his plasma rifle loose and easy, but the muzzle pointed straight at them. "Private party, or can anyone join?" he said, voice rough as gravel. The enforcers turned in perfect unison, their crystalline bodies glowing with a harsh, cold light. Their thoughts bled into the air, contempt, authority, disgust. "This does not concern you, organic. Your primitive biology cannot comprehend our purpose." A soft metallic click, Jax's finger brushing the trigger. "I comprehend bullies, and on my world we have a name for that." He stepped forward, between the enforcers and the trembling Lyra. Her glow flickered, faint, terrified, but now a spark of something else shimmered within it. Hope. "Leave now," the enforcer commanded, its body burning with weaponized light. Jax chuckled. "I've heard scarier threats from a Terran bartender at closing time." He fired. The bolt ricocheted off the cavern wall, shattering a massive crystal formation, and the world exploded into blinding light and chaos.
They ran. The chase was a blur, a frantic storm through the glowing, immaculate canyons of the Xiling capital. Bolts sizzled past, molten scars burned into the perfect crystal walls. They will not stop. Lyra's thoughts slammed into his mind, a hurricane of fear so real it almost hurt. "Good," Jax grunted, pulling her into a narrow conduit, the city's hum fading behind them. "Keeps things interesting." They pressed themselves against the cold, vibrating walls. His rough breathing, her trembling glow, two different worlds trapped in one heartbeat. The pursuit thundered past their hiding spot. In that sudden stillness, she turned her light toward him. "Why?" she asked, her voice a fragile pulse in his mind. "No one has ever defied the collective for another. Why?" He thought of every time he'd been the one left behind, the one no one fought for. "Let's just say, I'm not a fan of conformity," he murmured. "Besides, I couldn't let them dim your light. It's too beautiful." A wave of gratitude washed over him, warm, pure, more intimate than any touch. In that moment, the fugitive and the soldier stopped running. And for the first time, the galaxy's coldest world began to feel alive. Their refuge was the city's underbelly, a forgotten network of geothermal tunnels far from the pristine spires above. Here, in the warmth and the darkness, Lyra told him everything. Her people hadn't evolved beyond emotion. It had been stolen from them. A vast, conquering empire had subjugated Xylos decades ago, installing a planet-wide psychic dampener that suppressed all strong feelings, turning the Xylos into perfect, compliant laborers. The enforcers were just puppets, hollow reflections of an unseen oppressor. Lyra was part of a tiny resistance, a few fragile souls who had found ways to partially shield themselves, trying desperately to wake their people. The Empire calls emotion a chaotic flaw, a weakness to be purged. Her form dimmed to a deep indigo, a color of sorrow, of truth. Jax leaned back against a rock wall, the heat seeping into his weary bones. He thought of Earth. "On my world," he said softly, "we write symphonies about that weakness. We start wars for it. We build entire civilizations on the back of that chaotic flaw. They call my home a death world because everything on it, the animals, the weather, even the plants, fights to live with a passion they'd call insane. They don't see it as weakness. They see it as power." And in that dim tunnel, surrounded by heat and silence, a human from the galaxy's wildest world reminded an alien race what it truly meant to feel.
"I want to understand," Lyra projected, her light pulsing with a desperate curiosity. "Show me." She led him to a hidden sanctuary deep within the tunnels, a chamber where the psychic dampener's field was weakest. An ancient Xylan ritual of bonding, she explained, one unused for generations. It was a true sharing of minds. As she placed her shimmering crystalline hand over his heart, a bridge of pure energy connected them. Jax gasped as his mind was flooded with her existence, the serene, silent beauty of Xylos before the Empire, the cold horror of psychic suppression, the quiet agony of being the only one feeling in a world of numbness. In turn, Lyra saw Earth through his eyes. She felt the searing heat of a desert sun, the bone-chilling cold of a mountain blizzard, the joy of a lover's embrace, and the gut-wrenching grief of loss. She felt the fierce, untamed love he had for his chaotic, violent, beautiful home. When the connection broke, they were both trembling. The chasm between their species had vanished. They were no longer just a human and an alien. They were Jax and Lyra.
Their newfound peace was shattered by the shriek of metal and the explosion of their chamber's entrance. The Empire had found them. A hulking warlord, his body a grotesque fusion of scarred flesh and black market cybernetics, strode through the dust, flanked by elite shock troopers. "The emotional contagion ends now," the warlord boomed, his voice a metallic rasp. The fight was brutal, close quarters. Jax moved with explosive speed that defied his size, a product of a lifetime on a high-gravity world. His movements were unpredictable, chaotic. He ducked under blaster fire a computer would have called a guaranteed hit, and came up firing. But it was Lyra who became the true weapon. Fueled by the torrent of emotions from Jax's memories and her own reawakened spirit, she unleashed a wave of pure psychic energy. A focused blast of grief and rage that sent the troopers staggering back, clutching their heads in agony as they experienced true feeling for the first time. They fought back to back, a seamless dance of Deathworlder ferocity and Xylon psychic power. A combination the Empire had never imagined. They escaped through the labyrinthine tunnels, but not before Jax planted a data spike he'd been saving for a special occasion into an Imperial network terminal. It contained a powerful logic bomb virus designed to overload and shatter the psychic dampener's core programming. As they raced toward the surface, a low hum vibrated through the entire planet, growing into a deafening roar. Then silence. And then a single collective gasp from a billion minds. Across the planet, the dampener failed. For the first time in a century, the Xylans felt. A tidal wave of confusion, fear, joy, and anger washed over the collective consciousness. Lyra cried out, clutching her head, but then her light steadied, turning into a brilliant, unwavering beacon. "I can hear them," she whispered to Jax, her voice filled with awe. "They are afraid, but they are awake." On the streets above, the shimmering forms of the Xylans began to turn from placid blue to a rainbow of vibrant, chaotic colors. The revolution had begun, not with a shot, but with a feeling.
Their only chance was a decapitation strike. Using Lyra's newfound connection to her people to create diversions, they infiltrated the Imperial command ship, orbiting high above Xylos. They fought their way to the bridge, a sterile white room where the Imperial Admiral stood, watching the chaos on the planet below with cold detachment. "So, the Deathworlder and his pet emotional anomaly have come to plead their case?" she sneered, not even turning to face them. The final battle was not of firepower, but of will. The Admiral's elite guards were no match for Jax's brutal close-quarters efficiency. He moved like a storm, pure instinct, pure survival, every motion born from a lifetime on a death world where hesitation meant death. As Jax held them off, Lyra confronted the Admiral directly, not with energy blasts, but with a focused psychic assault. She channeled all the pain of her people, all the love she felt for Jax, all the fierce protective hope for the future, and pushed it straight into the Admiral's mind. The woman who had built her empire on the suppression of all feeling screamed. Her cold, logical world shattered under the sheer force of an emotion she could never comprehend. She collapsed, her reign of sterile tyranny broken by the very thing she despised.
When the smoke cleared, the sky of Xylos was no longer red. It shimmered gold, dawn breaking through the ashes of war. Jax stood on the scorched ridge, armor cracked, weapons spent. Beside him, Lyra, alive, glowing faintly, her eyes brighter than the sunrise. The Empire's fleet was gone. The chains that bound her people dissolved, and in the silence that followed, he whispered, "You're free now." Lyra took his hand, warm, trembling, and pressed it against her heart. "No, we're free." From that bond, a promise was born, a future where human strength and alien spirit would rise together, not as conquerors, but as family. And as the Deathworlder looked at the stars, he realized something profound, that even in the darkest corners of the galaxy, hope doesn't fall from the sky. Sometimes it crashes down and rebuilds the universe from the ashes. Because in the end, it's not the strength of our weapons that defines humanity. It's the fire in our hearts, the courage to feel, even when the galaxy tells us not to. If this story moved you, join us, subscribe, and become part of the journey, where every world reminds us what it means to be human.